Good morning, you guys. Today I am hopping on to talk about the paleo diet. So the paleo diet, or the caveman diet, has been around a while. You might have heard about it, but you may not know exactly which foods are included or excluded when you are following this diet. So today I'm hopping on to talk through the paleo diet. I'm going to share some of the ways that I use the paleo recipes and ingredients in my Faster Way meal planning, and I'll help you answer the question, should you be eating like a caveman? So we are officially in week 2, day 2 of the 21 days of nutrition presented by Kim's Prescription for Health. And the theme of week 2 is diet and diet strategies. So yesterday we started with the keto diet, and I shared some pros and cons of living the keto lifestyle. I also shared some of the ways that I implement the keto style of eating into my Faster Way to Fat Loss food cycle because the fat burning strategies are so effective. So if you missed that video, hop on over to Kim's Prescription for Health and take a look. It's got some really great info. You don't want to miss that one. Okay, so let's hop over to our topic of the day. Today we are talking about the paleo diet. So the paleo diet comes from, or the background of it is what you would have eaten in the Paleolithic era. So the foods that are typically included are lean meats, fish, fruits and vegetables, and nuts and seeds. So think of hunter-gatherer type foods. The plan does eliminate foods that emerged as a result of the farming era, so no dairy, legumes, oats, and it does encourage that you eliminate or significantly reduce salt intake. So before we get too far, you should know by now that I do love any diet or program that focuses on whole food nutrition, and the paleo diet is all about whole food nutrition, so we definitely get 2 thumbs up for that. Whole foods are my jam. I love the way I feel when I have more whole foods in my diet, and it's been even more important since I started my overnights because the sleep deprivation has completely messed up my stomach and my digestive system, so including as many whole foods into my diet has really been beneficial to help reduce the symptoms. But don't get me wrong, I do still love my treats. Fortunately, with the paleo diet, there are so many recipes and alternatives that you can find clean ingredients or clean versions of a lot of your favorite treats. And now I do still eat quite a bit of, I will still include regular treats in my diet. That's kind of the benefit of the flexibility of the Faster Way to Fat Loss, is that yes, I do eat whole foods most of the time, but we do fit treats into our macros so that I can still eat the foods I love while still reaching my goals. But what I love about the paleo diet is if I kind of want a sweet treat, I have a sweet tooth, or I find a really delicious looking recipe, I can almost always, actually 100% of the things I've searched so far, I found a paleo alternative. So when I'm doing my meal planning with the Faster Way to Fat Loss, one of the things I'll do is look through some of my typical resources. I jot down some of our favorite meals. I might just throw in some ingredients, Google it, and see what comes up. And if I find something that's covered in cheese or covered in breading and I'm thinking, okay, that looks really good, I wonder if there is an alternative that will fit into my Faster Way to Fat Loss guidelines, I can just type in paleo and put in whatever recipe I'm looking at, and I guarantee you get 20, 30 hits right off the bat that have a paleo or a Whole30 or a clean whole food version of whatever food you're looking for. So the paleo diet and the paleo recipes have been super helpful to incorporate into my meal planning because it's so much whole food and it fits right into my Faster Way to Fat Loss lifestyle. Okay, let's see. So just talked about that. So now that we know what the paleo diet is and what foods are included and excluded, let's look at some of the benefits of following the paleo lifestyle. So I kind of ran through some of the research. I pulled a couple quick studies, and consistently across the board, the paleo diet is shown to decrease weight. There was a decrease in body fat, including around the organs, so central obesity or the visceral fat. A decrease in blood sugar and insulin, fasting blood sugar and insulin, and a decrease in cholesterol and blood pressure. So all good measures to help you decrease or eliminate your risk for chronic conditions. But then on the other hand, I did find one study that showed an increase in some of the markers in your blood that can increase your risk for heart disease, which I found to be interesting. And the thought behind that is that the paleo diet, you eat a lot of animal fats or saturated fats, and there have been studies in the past that show or that have found the higher amount of animal or saturated fats in your diet can increase your risk of heart disease. And then the paleo diet is also very low on whole grains because it eliminates all grains. So and we also know from previous research that a diet low in whole grains or actually a diet that's high in whole grains can reduce your risk of heart disease. So it makes sense, but it is kind of interesting to see the biochemical results, to see this increased level of a metabolite that is known to be higher in people with heart disease come up when they're looking at people on the paleo diet versus a regular diet. So I did think that was worthy of noting, that we are seeing all these decreases in, factors that we know to contribute to heart disease, like decreased cholesterol, decreased insulin and blood sugar levels, decreased blood pressure. But then we're also seeing people on the paleo diet have an increase in this metabolite that is known to be higher in people with heart disease. So something to keep in mind. I do think that it comes back to what we've always been told: a diet that is high in whole grains, a diet that's high in all the food groups is really what's ideal. So I do think there are a lot of great benefits of following the paleo diet. I just want to keep in mind both sides of the picture here. So let's run through the pros and cons. In the faster way to fat loss, we follow the whole food rule of if it has a mother or if it comes from the ground, it's good to go. And the paleo diet fits right into that. So definitely bonus points there. It completely eliminates processed foods and inflammatory foods like processed sugars, dairy, gluten, processed oils. It is also shown to decrease weight and the visceral or central body fat, fasting blood sugar, insulin, cholesterol, blood pressure. So all major wins there. And then unlike keto, the paleo diet does allow you to eat fruits and vegetables, which I think is a very important part of a balanced, healthy diet. Okay, some of the cons of the paleo diet. It is quite restrictive, and it does eliminate those good sources of whole grains like legumes, oats, legumes, grains, and then high fiber foods like beans and quinoa. And then some of the concerns that I just talked about with the increased metabolite or biomarker that we know to be higher in people with heart disease, that is being found in people on the paleo diet. So that is of concern. And then the other con is that convenience foods are completely out. When you're following the paleo diet, it is rather strict. So you need to stick to the foods that are on the plan. And in general, that's not a bad thing. It's good to stick to a whole food diet, unprocessed, unless you're a really busy mom or a really busy adult and you need some of those quick convenience foods just to survive the days. That's me. I need to survive. So I do kind of need something a little more flexible that I can throw in some of the quick convenience foods. Still trying to keep it as whole grain or whole foods as possible. But that was kind of a bummer for me. That number one, that you can't include beans, oats, and quinoa because those are staples. They have protein along with whole grain sources of carbs, which is really important for me. And then the fact that there isn't as much flexibility with adding in a little bit of convenience foods, trying to keep it mostly whole food. So kind of my conclusion, the paleo diet is whole food based. I love that. It's unprocessed, very clean eating plan. There's been a lot of health benefits by following this plan. The stricter nature of the plan doesn't allow for as much flexibility. So definitely something to get you started, but if you need to transition to something that's more flexible and sustainable, that includes foods from all the food groups and allows some treats or some of your favorite foods, this might be a little difficult to stick to in the long term. And like I said, deal breaker for me is that I love beans, oatmeal, and quinoa. They're high in protein, they're high in whole grains, they help me hit my goals. They keep me feeling full, they help me hit that protein goal, which helps me build muscle. And we know that muscle mass is related to metabolism. Sorry, the bugs are killing me. So if you would like some more information on something that's a little more flexible, give me a shout out and let's talk through the faster way to fat loss program and strategies. All right, guys, thanks for following along. Have a great day.